Hi Scorpio, today we're going to look at August 9th, 2025, and that's the full moon in Aquarius. We're going to look at Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising with specific messages for each. We'll look at numerology, astrology, and the tarot cards, and we'll end the reading with advice for your sign. And in the description box below, I have links for meditations for each of these tarot cards that I drew for you today. And if you feel seen today, please subscribe and stay tuned for your next reading. Tell me what messages hit home today, and let's talk about it in the comments. I read all the comments, and I will reply to each and every one. So, let's start with numerology, and the number for that day is the number 8, and it speaks of inner strength, boundaries, and legacy building. So for Scorpio, this energy urges you to rise with resilience. It's a moment to focus on what you're cultivating long term, not just surviving, but thriving with purpose. So you might recommit to a goal you nearly gave up on, whether it's healing or parenting or business or emotional growth. Today reminds you that the fruits are on the other side of persistence. And then in astrology, this full moon lights up your 4th house of home, emotional foundations, and private life. It's a spotlight on your roots, past and present, and asks what needs healing, restructuring, or release. So we're going to look at the sun, and the sun is in Leo. That's your 10th house, and that's going to talk about career and public image. So the sun shines on your external accomplishments and aspirations. It brings clarity to how you're seen and where ambition may be clashing with your need for emotional safety. So you might be juggling work success and home life imbalance, or feel the need to step back from the spotlight to nourish yourself emotionally. And the moon. So the moon is in Aquarius, and that's your 4th house. That's going to talk about inner life and home and security. So this moon reveals emotional patterns or family dynamics that may need closure or transformation. It's a powerful day for healing generational cycles or setting new emotional standards. So you may realize a reoccurring emotional pattern stems from childhood, and you're now in a place to rewrite that story. Mercury, that's in Virgo, that's your 11th house. That's supportive conversations and future planning. So you may find it easier to talk through future goals or receive advice from trusted friends or mentors. Clarity comes through connection. So a friend might say something that helps you to reframe an emotional challenge or inspires you to recommit to a long-term vision. Here's Venus. Venus is in Leo, your 10th house. That's going to talk about public affection and creative legacy. So Venus here helps you align your public life with what you love. You're being asked to lead with heart, especially in work or public spaces. You might be recognized for something creative or compassionate you've done, or decide to move your career towards something that feels more meaningful. Here's Mars. Mars is in Gemini, that's your 8th house, and that's deep emotional processing and transformation. So Mars in this house urges you to face emotional truths head on, especially those related to intimacy, vulnerability, and power dynamics. You may find yourself cutting emotional ties to something you've outgrown, or stand up for yourself in a way that transforms a relationship dynamic. Let's look at your tarot cards. So the first one I pulled for you is the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands talks about resilience and the wounded warrior and nearing the finish line. So this card shows you've been through a lot, but you're still standing. So the 9 of Wands is your reminder that while you're tired, you're also tougher than you think. So you might be emotionally drained from repeating patterns. Now, that could be in love or work or family, but deep down, you know you're close to a breakthrough. It's the final push before something shifts. So here's your advice. Don't give up now. Rest is needed, but hold the line. You're closer than you realize to completion and victory. Here's the Empress. And the Empress talks about creativity and fertility and nurturing abundance. So the Empress is the archetype of life itself. It represents creative power and self-love and beauty and emotional richness. This is a call to nurture yourself and your creations like they're sacred, because they are. So you might be creating something new. So that could be a home or a business or a relationship, or even more loving relationship with yourself. So today it's time to pour love and attention into what you value most. So here's your advice. Let yourself receive. Surround yourself with beauty, comfort, and softness. Trust that what you're cultivating is growing, even if you can't see it yet. Then we have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant talks about tradition and wisdom and spiritual mentorship. So the Hierophant connects you to ancient wisdom, structure, and values that stand the test of time. So this card often appears when you're seeking guidance or returning to practices that ground you. So you might return to a spiritual or ancestral practice, seek advice from a mentor, or feel called to follow a path that connects your work with something meaningful. So here's your advice. Anchor into what you know is true, whether it's a ritual, tradition, or code you live by. Let it hold you steady while everything else shifts. Now, let's talk about how this day affects Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Scorpio, Sun, you're shining light on your internal power structures. You may be revisiting lessons about emotional endurance and realizing you're ready to rebuild your foundation with more softness and stability. So you might choose to step away from old ambitions that no longer serve your soul, and instead double down on work that nurtures you emotionally and creatively. Scorpio Moon, your emotional world is full of wisdom today. You're processing old wounds through the lens of empowerment. You may feel nostalgic or protective, but also deeply aware that you've outgrown a previous version of yourself. So you might journal or dream about a parent or childhood theme and realize you've become your own source of safety now. Scorpio Rising. Others see your strength, but you're learning to soften that armor just enough to let support in. You're building something beautiful and lasting from the inside out. So, for example, you may surprise others by turning down a power move in favor of something more nurturing or spiritually aligned. This is maturity in action. So here's the summary for what this day means for Scorpio. So this full moon asks you to balance emotional vulnerability with inner resilience and reminds you that true strength is not in control, but in trust. So the Nine of Wands shows your strength has been tested, but you're almost there. And the Empress invites you to soften, nurture, and create with intention. And the Hierophant anchors you in your wisdom, values, and legacy. So here's the real life takeaway. Don't give up. You're so close to a breakthrough. Nurture what matters most, including yourself. Let wisdom and tradition guide your next bold step. So here's the advice for Scorpio on this day. Stand strong, but soften too. You are allowed to be powerful and tender. What you're creating now is sacred, so lead with love, protect your peace, and trust your path. Thank you, Scorpio, and I hope to see you in another reading. Career towards something. Okay. Gonna get it right. So, like you're sacred. No. Let it hold your steady What? No. You're gonna get it. Okay. You're gonna get this right. Okay.